Okay, now for understanding the concept of object-oriented programming, I'll make a new class and say I'll call that class as fruit. Okay, this is a very simple class. There is no main function in it. Fine. I have simply made a class known as fruit. Okay, and what are the properties of a fruit? Say you can describe string name of the fruit, fine, in or string weight of the fruit, fine. These are the two basic properties of any fruit. Okay, now I will make a new class over here and I'll call it, say, test.java. Simple. Don't think that it is a test case or something. Just try given it a name, right? So in test.java, I'll create the object of the fruit class. What do you mean by creating the object of the fruit class? If I write over here new fruit, okay, you write over here new fruit, then you create the object of the fruit class, or you write it 3 times, then you are creating 3 objects of this class. But technically, what is the meaning of this? What happens in the memory? If I'm writing 3 times like this, then in memory 3 memory spaces are allocated. 3 objects are there. Each object will have the property name and weight. Name and weight. Name and weight. Okay, right? But these are just hanging objects. To access these objects and to access the properties of these objects, you need to have references. You create the references like this. Hold on, there is some noise. Please keep yourself on mute. Yeah. So you write over here fruit f1 equals to new fruit, fruit f2 equals to new fruit, fruit f3 equals to new fruit. Okay, fine. So what will happen technically in the in the memory is that f1 will be a reference which will point towards the first one, and f2 will point towards the second one, and f3 will point towards the third one. Okay, fine. So with f1 I can access the properties of the first object, with f2 I can access the properties of the second object, with f3 the third one, right? So f1, f2 and f3 are not objects. These are known as object references. Alright, objects are in the memory, which are the boxes out here, and they are formed by writing this line, new fruit. Okay, fine. So now if I write f1 dot, you will automatically get the options name and weight. f1 dot name is say mango, and f1 dot weight is say 1 kg. f1 dot name is so f2 dot name is papaya, and I can declare the property f2 dot weight is 10 kg. Similarly, f3 dot name is orange, and f3 dot weight is 0.5 kg. The thing to realize out here is that there is just one class having the properties name and weight, but for every object the property can be different. Okay. Similarly, in fruit class, if I make a function, say public void say print details, fine, and if inside it I write name and again I repeat, I am assuming you have basic knowledge of programming, what strings are and all, what this concatenation operator is. If you are not so comfortable with Java or programming, as I told you earlier, you can go with the videos, you can join the training later on by paying the remaining fee. Okay, there is no need to hurry up. So you print the name and the weight, right, like this in print details function. So what happens in memory when I create the three objects, the function, you can say it like this, that is the function print details becomes the part of every object. Okay, right? So when f1 calls print details and f2 calls print details, so when f1 will call the print details function, this function will actually print the name and weight for f1. Okay, and when f2 will call print details, this will print the name and weight for f2. Alright, so when you run this, you will see that it's printing the name and details for f1, which is mango, and f2, which is papaya, right? Okay, so this is what an object creation is. We create the object of the class and then use the properties of that class. Similar thing happens in Selenium. In Selenium, you don't have to make any core classes. Everything is inbuilt. Okay, everything is inbuilt. You just need to have the understanding of the classes which are inbuilt inside Selenium, right? For example, if you look at the documentation, then one of the famous classes which everybody must have used till now is Firefox driver, right? Most of you must have used it. Firefox driver class. This is used to work with Firefox. Okay, so this Firefox driver class is already there inside the jar file which we have included in the project. Okay, when you right click over here, you create, I create a new class known as sample Selenium. When you create, the object of this class Firefox driver, you write over here new Firefox driver. That's it. I just created the object, no reference and all nothing. You'll have to import it. Move your mouse over this error and you select the import option. Fine. You import Firefox driver from the reference libraries, and when you run this, you will see that a blank Firefox window will open. Hold on, or you will get an error. Hold on. Just 1 minute. It's taking time. It should work. Hold on. Just hold on, guys. This, this red button is visible. The terminate button. This means that the program is still running. Okay. So you just have to be a little patient, right? It's taking time. Maybe it's stuck somewhere or something. Just give it time, right? It generally never takes this much time, but not sure why is it taking this much time today. Hold on, I'll just wait for another 1 minute or so. No, that's you see that it opens more Firefox now. Okay, so you close this, right, and the program will be terminated as well. When you run a program, until or unless you don't see this red mark, that the time which you see the red mark, that means the program is running. All right. Many times people get error while running Firefox driver, unreachable browser exception or something. Make sure that you use a little older version of Firefox. Okay. It's sometimes like if today the version changes from say X to X.1 or X to Y version of Firefox, the new version is not supported. Okay, and since it's not supported, your updated Firefox never runs with Selenium. So shift your version a little back and it will start working. And also make sure that that in Firefox you don't keep the automatic updates turned on. You can turn off the automatic updates in Firefox, because usually what happens is that with the latest version, Selenium doesn't work for some time. Okay, till the time they have released a patch. And these Firefox guys, they are changing the versions like anything before. Okay, since past 2 years they have created a what can we say, a havoc in the industry. Right. So right. Now, anyways, moving further. So this is what happens when I just write Firefox driver equals to new Firefox driver, right? I made no object reference. If I make a reference, I'll have to make it like this. That is for its Firefox driver F1 equals to new Firefox driver, right? And with F1, I can access all the properties of Firefox driver. You see, there are a lot of functions in it. Fine. We will look at them, but slowly and steadily, right? A lot of features which you can do with Firefox. For example, f1.close will simply close it. Okay, this line will open the browser, and f1.close, as the name suggests, it will close the browser. Right. Similarly, there is a driver class for every browser. Fine. For example, I'll tell you something. Hold on. There are different drivers. For example, for Safari, we have got something known as Safari driver. For Android, we have something known as Android driver. For Chrome, we have Chrome driver, Firefox driver. Then we have something known as HTML unit driver. I'll talk about this later on. This is something which can test your application in invisible mode without even opening the browser. Okay. Then you have something known as Internet Explorer driver, iPhone driver, remote web driver. Remote web driver is used with GRID. Okay. Then you have something known as event firing driver, WebDriver. This is this was rather used not these days for simulating complex user gestures like moving the mouse and all that stuff. Okay. So there are various driver classes, right? So you can create the objects of these classes and you can use them in very simple and plain words. Okay. But before I move further, let me go back to object-oriented programming. Fine. Out here, I had created this class known as fruit. Fine. Which had two properties, name and weight, right? And a function print details. Okay. And I had created the object of fruit class over here and used the properties of this. And based on that, I demonstrated you that you can make the object of Firefox driver and you can use any property of the Firefox driver. Right. Okay. Now before I move further, in a class in Java, there are two types of variables. This is known as a non-static global variable. Fine. This is also a non-static global variable. Fine. Right. Now there is something known as static, which many people they find it a little confusing. For example, I keep a property like static string category food. Fine. Now static is something which is not the part of the object, but it is common for all the objects. In the memory, we know that all the objects would be of the type food. Every object is a food. Fine. So what we do is that if we declare something as static, that will not go inside each and every object. Okay, that will reside somewhere at a common location in the memory, right? So category will reside at a common location and can be accessed, you can say, virtually by any object. So instead of putting category for each of the objects, because the category is same, or each and every object has the category food, so you keep it at a common location and you do it by declaring static. So by declaring some field static, that field no longer remains the part of the object. Okay. So if I have to access the field, I don't have to create the object. I can access it directly like the system.out.println say fruit, the name of the class dot the static field category. You will not get the other options like name or weight because those are non-static things. Those are for objects. Okay. Static stuff can directly be called with the name of the class dot the static property. Okay. So static, a function can also be static. Okay, but static is not the property of an object. It is say common for the object, but it's common for everybody. It comes out of the object. Okay, fine. So we have some static things in Selenium as well. For example, when you write Firefox driver, the name of the class dot, you get lot of static properties. Okay, we will talk about them as well, but try to understand the fact that you have got static as well as non-static properties. Again, for example, if you are working on Chrome, if you write over here Chrome driver dot, you don't have any static property over here. If you are working with Internet Explorer, Internet Explorer driver dot, you will get so many static properties which can be accessed without creating the object. Okay, so it all depends on your requirement, and also not everybody remembers so many things. Okay, I don't remember what each and every of this function does. I refer the Java documentation when I have to find out what these functions do, but I'll tell you how to refer that as well. Fine, just be with me. Okay, so this is Firefox driver class. I just created the object. So similarly, if you have to work with Chrome, you can create the object of Chrome driver. You can write over here new Chrome driver and run the program. And this, when you run it, you will get an error. Hold on, I'll show you. You run it. Hold on, Firefox driver. I'll just comment out this line first. This Firefox is taking. Yeah. When you run this, when you write new Chrome driver, you get an error. Okay, don't be afraid of errors when you get them. Generally, you copy the first line of error and search on Google. You will get the answer. That's how I have also learned it. Okay, right? Or read the error carefully. The powerful driver executable must be set by the property WebDriver.Chrome.driver. Okay, fine. Actually the problem is for Chrome driver, you have to download a special third-party exe file. Third-party browser drivers not developed by Selenium HQ. You go for the browser Chrome over here. You go over here, go to the downloads link. And downloads have been moved to this location. Okay, right. So you can download the latest 2.8, and depending on your OS, right, download the Chrome driver when the Chrome driver file. Just hold on. I have it over here. You extract it. I'll extract it to say D drive package. So I have extracted Chrome driver zip file to this location, and what I have got is I have got Chrome driver.exe file. Okay, it's at this location, D driver. Fine. And what you need to do is that you need to write over here system. This is a standard thing which you need to do. System dot set property WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver to the value D drive Ashish, the place where you have extracted Chrome driver.exe. In Java, you have to give double slash. Escape sequence is there. Fine. So you have to set the system property WebDriver.Chrome.driver to this. Now, what do you mean by system.set property here? System is an internal class in Java, just like we had a class like date in Java, right? I created the date and it was printing the system date, you remember? Similarly, system is an internal class and set property is a static function inside it. See, there are a lot of static things inside this class. One of them is set property function, which is static. So you can directly call it from the class name dot the function name, and you can set the system property. And now when you run run this, see, Chrome driver runs and it opens up Chrome. Okay. Do remember when Selenium starts a browser, it clears all the cache, cookies, and all, and then starts the browser. Right. Similarly, you work with Internet Explorer. To work with Internet Explorer driver, you have to be a little careful. Look, all of you must be using i9, i10 or something like that. I have a little older version of i, right? But when you're working with i, the first thing which you need to do is that you need to turn off the protected mode in i, or bring it to the same level. Fine. I'll tell you how to do that. You just type over here protected mode I, right? You need to turn it off or bring it on the same level. If you go to images, I'll tell you, yeah, you have this kind of hold on, just hold on. When you go to your Internet Explorer properties, okay, you have got this kind of window, right? In security, right? You have got 4 tabs: internet, local internet, trusted sites, restricted sites. So for all these 4 levels, okay, make sure that this bar is at the same level. Okay, for all these 4, Internet Explorer, or all these 4 zones: internet, local internet, trusted sites, restricted sites, this bar of security level should be at the same location. Okay, otherwise I will not work, right? And secondly, make sure that the zoom level in I is set to 100. Sometimes people have zoom load set to 110 or 120 or less than 100, then also it gives problem. Okay, and thirdly, for I as well, you need to download an iDriver exe file from seleniumhq.org, similar to what we did for Chrome. For iDriver, they have a separate section, the Internet Explorer driver, and you can download the version 2.39 for 32-bit I or 64-bit I, whatever it is. You can download the zip file, right, and you can extract it. You see that I have got it. iDriver server.exe. You have to download this file, and in the code, okay, whatever I repeated, first of all, you have to have the same levels in all zones, 100% zoom level for I, and third is exe file has to be downloaded, and you have to again write this line: system.set property WebDriver dot I.driver, and give the path of the exe file which you have downloaded. Fine, and you write over here new Internet Explorer driver. Fine. So when you run this, it will open up a Chrome, and after that it should open up an IE. Should open up IE. Yes, it's opening up IE. You see that? Right? So you can work with all these three browsers. Okay. There's another thing known as HTML unit driver and all. I'll talk about that later on. Right? But basically, this is how you create the objects of existing files in Selenium. You can use the properties when you create the object of Chrome driver. If you give it a reference, I write over here Chrome driver C equals to new Chrome driver, then like I did for Firefox driver, then I can use the features of Chrome driver. I can use features of iDriver, and I can work forward. Fine. So now I would like you guys, like anybody having any questions. Like I kept on talking and I kept on talking, but is there anybody having any questions?
I wanted to find out if the same concept works in Safari and others also. I just wanted to put this like the Firefox driver concept across the Eclipse works in all the other Mac systems as well.
To do, right? I again repeat, for Safari the same concept will work, but there are two things which you need to do. The first thing is that you have to register yourself as a developer with Apple, and second thing is when you register, you get a certificate. You have to install that developer certificate or whatever certificate it is inside Safari, and then only Safari driver works. After that, you have to write this line Safari driver equals to new Safari driver. But as far as I have worked on Safari driver, it is not so stable. There are many functionalities which are not working on it. Okay. Right. Any other question?
I had a question. When you typed f1 dot close, even before you typed close, a lot of features appeared in the drop down. When I typed that on my Eclipse, it did not appear. Am I doing something wrong?
Have you imported the Firefox driver class?
Actually, I joined the class late. Was there something that I should have done before I do this?
Yes, you need to import. Hold on, I'll tell you.
Okay.
You need to import the Firefox driver class. If you haven't imported, then you will be getting error like this. You have to move your mouse over there and import it by selecting the import option.
Yeah, I did that. After that red line appeared, I did that.
And then when you write f1 dot, you will get a lot of functions. And you try it again, I think you should get it. It's never happened like this.
Okay.
Or put a cursor and hit Control space bar, and again you will get it.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? What did you say? The last one?
Put the cursor in front of the dot.
Okay.
And hit Control space bar. I'm also recording this session. You can like have a look at the recording as well about the shortcuts and all. Alright?
Okay, yeah, I got it now. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, anything else from anybody? Any question?
Ashish, on the top, would you need to write this import dot org dot on the top?
Yes, you have to write it. Rather, you don't have to write it yourself. You can automatically bring it by moving the mouse over there and clicking on the fix.
Oh, when you do that, does it come automatically?
Yeah, it comes up automatically.
Okay, but for Chrome, you haven't actually imported it, but you have downloaded the drivers. So how did it come from Chrome then?
What is Chrome driver over here? Okay. If I delete this line, I'll get an error on Chrome browser. I'll import it again and the error goes away.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I delete all the imports, then I'll get all the errors. And if you want to import all everything in one go, the shortcut is you just press Control Shift O for orange of the keyboard, and everything will be imported in one go. If you want to import everything, it is Control plus Shift plus O. Okay. Yeah. Anything else from anybody?
Hi,
Regarding Selenium, regarding codes, anything? Yeah.
hello, Ashish. Can you what is the difference between this public static void and public void?
Look, static, as I told you, is something which is, for example, if you go back to fruit, okay, when you write something static, it never remains the part of the object. Okay, so that's why we have, whenever we create a main function, basically, okay, we create it with the syntax public static. Okay, so that when Java calls this main function, main is the function which is called by default by Java, right? When you run the program, okay. So when Java calls the main function, it will not create the object of this class to call it. It will simply call it directly. Are you able to get my point?
Oh, can you say it once more because I'm not getting it clear.
Okay. Look, in fruit, I had this category, right?
Yes.
It was static. I could access it directly by writing fruit.category. I never had to create the object of this file, right? Similarly, why is the main function static? Now understand the usability of the main function. Main function is called by Java. It is the first function which is called by Java. When I run this program, hello Selenium will be printed in console.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Right. So Java never creates the object of this class. It's somewhere in the memory. It simply calls it like this sample.name. Okay.
Okay. I got it.
Yeah, so that's why the main function is static. Just hold on. There's a question being asked. Are you going to cover ID in this training? No, Shiva, I'm not going to cover ID in this training. Rather, you don't require a training for ID. It's very simple to use. Keep on fiddling with it, you will understand the question. You can have a look at the module 10 of my website. I've kept the complete ID tutorial open for everyone. So you can have a look at that. It's over 5 hours. Yeah. Anybody else with any questions?
Ashish, how could we access these recorded classes?
You will get an email with the URL for the recorded class.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. All right. So I think you are over. Yeah, you will get the recording. I have recorded it. You get the. Okay. So all right. What I'll do is I'll actually stop for